Hello YouTube, Qapla, it's Birdo Prey 5, and welcome to our second Star Trek Saturday, where today we're going to watch Star Trek II, The Wrath of Kahn. I believe this is the director's cut, as it's a pretty lengthy version. It has a few extra minutes of footage, clocking in at, I believe, 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 10 seconds. Now, Memory Alpha says the director's cut is 1 hour, 54 minutes. Now, I know that's 50 missing seconds, but it's the closest of what I saw. So I think that's it. I think they may have rounded up. Also, there are slight differences in NTS and PAL. And what a relevant super chat. Thomas Potts obviously still suffering from mental illness. Says JJ Kahn is better, but he got Savick and William Shatner. A scene from today's very movie. Congratulations, Thomas Potts. Unfortunately, the chat widget is dead. I tested it. I've got a new URL, a new link to the widget. The widget isn't working, so I will have to keep trying to figure out how to bring it back, if it can be brought back. I don't know why Streamlabs it stopped working, but it did. So we're going to be sans widget for today, and also we're racing a clock here, people. It's 1 hour and 53 minutes, this movie. And Sister O'Prey said she was about 2 hours away about 20 minutes ago. So she may come in towards the end. Now, we'll keep going if she does come in. But she is not a Star Trek fan, as you all know. So Joseph Patrick says, Bird! Welcome, Joseph. He was quite early. Yeah, and then I would test it a couple times. He tested back. Thank you, Joseph. Life with Matthew, I believe, was first after I actually started. Says Qapla, Birdo Prey 5 and all. Qapla, Life with Matthew, and not Ryan Johnson. Says hello and Qapla, not Ryan Johnson. Anti-Tricker says the music feels a bit much. Oh, I'm sorry, Anti-Tricker. We can't all have audio of me singing songs and then cursing you out and all these different types of things stolen from other channels. John Araki with a 99-cent super chat. Another relevant clip from today's movie. I promise I did not change the order of these at all. These are honestly just what's coming up. A second clip from today's movie. Foreshadowing, if you will. John Araki, thank you. I know it's not the Dax you were hoping for, but it's something. Anti-Trigger saying a lot of his Streamlabs stuff isn't working, so I'm not alone. Anti-Trigger says, I mean, what are we really getting into here? We're getting into watching Star Trek II, The Wrath of Kahn. So get your copy. If you have the director's edition, get that queued up. Otherwise, get your regular copy, and you can follow the screenshots that will be on the main viewer. One picture every 5 seconds or so you can keep up with what's going on in the movie. We're just going to watch it. Like last week, we watched the motion picture. It was fun. Even though it was the motion picture, man, it was hard to get through. But this one's going to be a lot better. Joseph Patrick with a 2. Oh, and you got it, Joseph. Congratulations. Joseph gets the Kissing Dax Space Lesbians scene. With a €2 super chat, Joseph says, John Harrison is the real Khan. Sci-Fi Nation, you're early bird. Yes, well, I would like to finish before Sister O'Prey gets here. Yosef says, hi, Joe, Mamo, Pray, Sassy, and the flock. Welcome. Hello, Yosef. John DeMarco says, hello, everyone. Welcome, John DeMarco. Where are we? Thomas says, do I get a prize? Yes, you get the biggest prize of all, 12 cookies from your nearest Subway restaurant. Just go to them, tell them the passphrase, abracapoopa, and tell them, if they're not sure what it is, tell them to look it up in their employee manual. Abracapoopa should entitle you to 12 free cookies. Just wait until they give them to you. They will eventually. They don't want to make a scene. Dr. Alex says, hello, Bird of Prey 5, the best Star Trek film ever. Well, we'll see, Dr. Alex. I feel like a lot of nitpicking might go on. Azine says, hello there. Welcome, Azine. Azine, T-Berg, Wesley, me. We've been busy in Rockwood, the neighbor of Kuroga. In the Space Engineers. Sci-Fi Nation says, greetings, Bird o' Prey, Mamo Prey, Sassy o' Prey, and fellow nerds. Hashtag free anti. Yes, indeed, free anti. An anti-trekker. Anti-Trigger is a big YouTube star now after his second time on Nerdrotic in 30 days. He's a big-time YouTuber now with the likes of Nerdrotic and I don't know, some guy named Jeremy or something from some channel, Gamers and Geeks or something. I don't know. Though he did seem like he had his head on better than Anti-Trekker, but I don't know. He seems a little fishy. I never heard of that guy. Vile Mike says, howdy, folks. Welcome, Vile. Anti-Trigger says, a lot of my Streamlabs stuff is not working. And Anti-Trigger says, lies from Bird o' Prey 5. Sure, Anti-Trigger. Vile Mike says, I can just see Bird yelling into his microphone, Anti! Thomas Bot says, Kurogan truths equal lies. Well, that's a lie. And Anti-Trigger says, hey, Bird, I know you love Kahn. Do you see him as a role model, or do you think that Frank was on... Son of a... I think we probably should have kept experimenting with genetic manipulation. Sure, there was one mistake, but why give up? Why give up after one mistake? Vile Mike says, not bad, Yosef. Bad. No. Bad. He said, no. Bad, Yosef. Bad. Go sit in the corner for saying that. For Yosef saying that John Harrison is the real Khan. John DeMarco says, of all the souls I've encountered in my travels, his was the most alpacan. I don't think that's the exact quote. We'll get a reminder today. And that was quite an insulting quote for Spock when you think about it. And Yosef says he's going to be the Vile Mike done. He'll sit in the corner. Dan23 says the thumbnail pictures uses the same DVD cover, which shows the Enterprise firing on the space station, which never happened. Wow. Nitpicking. Good. Excellent. Bring out the nitpicker in you today, Dan. Surf Trictronics says, Con! My CFB picks are crumbling. Derek McManus, all hail Bird, all hail chat, greetings and all. Thomas Potts says Star Trek Beyond is better. Oh, Thomas Potts, I think he's got a high fever. Vile Mike says, Joseph Patrick, good. Stay there until you understand what you said was wrong, or until the movie is over. Derek McManus says, is this the one where the Enterprise was a submarine? Thomas Potts, Anti-Trigger is at 9.29k subs. Soon. Although I bet Anti-Trigger is never going to tell us his name. He'll probably, once he's ready to make that video, once he hits 10,000, he'll just keep putting it off. And YouTube will shut down when he was actually ready to make the video. Dan23 says, when it comes to Star Trek 2 and 3, don't like it in advertising when it says at the edge of the universe, because it's not accurate. It's not at that place. That is absolutely true. It's not at the edge of the universe. None of them were, except the one TNG episode where the Traveler sent the Enterprise to the edge of the universe. And perhaps the TNG episode where Crusher was caught in some type of warp bubble and the universe was collapsing around her. Vinyl Mike says, Derek, you mean Balance of Terror? Dan23 says Star Trek 2 edited for goats for goats. Oh, Star Trek 2 edited for goats from Family Guy. Yes, I remember that. Derek McManus says, Bird of Prey. When you do guest appearance on Friday Night Frolics, your YouTube credibility will rise like Frank when he meets his first son. Resolute Germ says, hi all, welcome Resolute. Derek McManus. Vinyl Mike, that's definitely the submarine-inspired episode. Thomas says, which comes first, next Borg review or Anti-Trek review of the Wrath of Kahn? That's a good question. Dan23's, I bet it's Wrath of Kahn. Dan23 says, it's the first it's the first computer-generated effect in cinema history when you see the video of the Genesis effect. Interesting. And Surf Trictronics is saying Anti-Trekker's a sellout because he sold his likeness to the emoji people. I think so. Sci-Fi Nation says, good going, Anti-Trekker. You're going to break the internet, jerk. Anti-Trekker says, Bird, sorry about earlier. I really enjoyed being on Nerdrotic with Geeks and Gamers. It was really cool to learn about the whole thing. Frank and Fritz. Son of a bitch. Mr. Londell says, there were certainly more than one mistake with the eugenics thing. I think there were quite a few augments running around, causing all kind of mayhem and madness since it being outlawed. Ms. Lundell, nothing worth doing is easy, as they say. Although I think I disagree with that. There are a lot of things that are easy that are worth doing. Joseph Patrick says, Vile Mike, of course I'm trolling, but I'll stay in the corner and eat my kale stew. Well, that's a punishment enough. Remember to lick the like button, says Derek. Dr. Alex is Bird of Prey, check Discord. And he's smiling with a thumbs up. So, check Discord. We're going to slow down the movie for everybody. Let's see, Dr. Alex. Okay, so Dr. Alex has, it looks like he has got the projector up and he's got the movie paused at the very same scene that I am at, as you can see on the, the Paramount Mountain. That you can see on the view screen. And Derek McManus with a 99 euro cents super chat. Thank you so much, Derek. And you also got Savick and Kirk. Another great foreshadowing of today. John Street says Bird is going to... Great Bird is showing porn for Anti-Trekker with Star Trek 2. Anti-Trekker says, all that being said, I do promise I will do the 10K video. I'm working on writing it, but I will have to take a break to watch a documentary about Frank and Freddie Top Man Love. Hey, who is more likely to like Frank or Freddie? God damn it. Sci-Fi Nation's Bird of Prey, only closet-dwelling man on man lovers, like Anti-Trekker, keep bringing up fake news about Frank and Freddie. Absolutely, Sci-Fi Nation. Derek says a turd emoji for Anti-Trekker. Oh, Derek McManus didn't put in a super chat. He put in a super sticker. That was the turd emoji for Anti-Trekker. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out, Derek. And Resolute Germ with a $5 super chat. Big bucks. I'm giving you the free super chat over Anti-Trekker because of the Frank and Freddie comment. Thank you, Resolute Germ. That is you're a true Kurogan patriot. Not Ryan Johnson says, Bird, I think you should check to make sure you're actually going to watch the right movie. It may have been swapped out with Freddie and Frank and Freddie do Dallas. I think I'd notice. Also, that's a different Frank. but it's the same Freddie. Dan23 says, isn't there a like and error in this movie like Enterprise take damage on one side of the ship, and then shots of Star Trek 3 that damages on the other side of the Enterprise. Could be. Could be. Serve Trigtronics says, I have a vial of John Harrison's blood. Bidding starts at 10 million. And T-Berg says, hail, Bird of Prey 5, back from volunteering. Very cool, T-Berg. Very cool. Joseph says his kale stew's a treat. And guys, let's get ready to start. So if you've got your copy out, get to it. I'm going to hit play in a few seconds. I'm going to do the countdown. Obviously, once it starts playing, I'm not going to be reading all the comments. So if you really want me to read a comment, do at BirdoPrey5, and I will try to get it in. And obviously, if you want, you could super chat, but you don't have to. At BirdoPrey5 will be enough, and I'll give priority to those chats. Other chats may or may not get read, depending on what's going on. Sci-Fi Nation says, hail, Karogan, Bird of Prey, dear leader, God Emperor, down with Turtistan and its evil dictator, anti-tracker. Indeed. Indeed. So, okay, we're going to head over to hit play. Let me bring up my player. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to... Oh, I have to turn off the audio so you guys don't hear it. Okay. We're all good. Anti-Trigger says, I must be running. I can't stay. Have a great stream, Bird. Okay, thank you, Anti-Trigger. And it's great to hear that you're back to running. I was afraid your knee was still hurting. So, have a good jog. That's great news. Great news. Oh, you need to lay down. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Jerk. Yeah, jerk. You're the one that you were running, not me. Okay, guys. 5. Okay, first off, I'm maybe 4 seconds in. I'm 11 seconds in. Just so if you need to get to, I'm 11 seconds in. I'm at the start of the Paramount logo. And maybe it's been on screen for a second or two. So get yourself situated to 11 seconds in, or the very beginning of the Paramount logo. This is the director's cut, Mercer. It's the director's cut. It's an hour and 53 minutes. Okay, I accidentally hit start. Well, now we're at 17 seconds. I paused it again. Now we're at 17 seconds in, but it's the director's cut. It's an hour and 53 minutes and 10 seconds. So find whichever one you have that's close to that. Okay, and I'm going to hit play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Okay. Dun 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 dun. And it plays it again. Josh reads his Bird of Prey. Anti-Tracker isn't running. He is using your jet-powered medical bed you used in the New York Marathon. Well, that's quite interesting. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Kahn. There it goes. There it goes up on the screen. Sci-Fi Nation gives the live long and prosper to Anti-Tracker, I assume. William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelley. The Big Three, then co-starring James Doohan, Walter Koenig, George Takei, Nichelle Nichols, and also starring B.B. Besh, Merritt Buttrick as David Merritt Buttrick, and Paul Winfield as Terrell. Introducing Kirstie Alley as Savick. And thank you, Bruce Lombardo, with a $2.99 super chat. Best Star Trek ever. Thank you. Yes, certainly in the running. 2, 4, and 6 are my top 3 of all time. And very, very hard to pin one down at any given time for me as to which is the best. But many, many, many people give the win to Star Trek 2. Introducing Kirstie Alley. This was her breakout movie. And if dare say, her most attractive. Those ears do something. Those ears add a couple of points. Sir Trictronics, how many of these actors are still living? Oof. I don't want to think about that. In the 23rd century. And we got Kirstie Alley giving a captain's log. Enterprise on a training mission. It's the Kobayashi Maru, but we don't know that yet. So they need to project a parabolic cost to avoid entering the neutral zone, because the neutral zone is just an oval in space. Kobayashi Maru. They've struck a mine. They give them their coordinates. They're inside the neutral zone. "300 passengers and a crew of 81. Savick says, damn. So she plots the intercept course. And Sulu knows he's gonna die. See, Anti-Trigger would see that ball and say the Klingon Empire is only 400 meters across because we see it in the movie. The entire neutral zone. It's smaller than a basketball. 3 Klingon cruisers bearing fast. Shield's coming up. Inform the Klingons we're on a rescue mission. Yeah, that's going to work. Tell Sulu to get them out of here, but he can't do anything. It's too late. Did they really expect people to believe that this was a real battle going on? The first time people saw this in the movie theater? It's Christie, not Christie. Mercer creates his Bird of Prey 5. It's Christie, not Christie. Mercer. I'm scratching my eyes right now. I'm trying to figure out what is the problem. Kirstie. It's Kirstie Alley, not Kirstie Alley. Kirstie Alley? Really? Well, Captain Kirk, Admiral Kirk, just said Klingons don't take prisoners until the next movie when he's taken prisoner by Klingons, of course, but we'll forget that. So, Spock, we saw Spock die. So if we were afraid, we heard the spoiler that Spock dies in this movie, now we're supposed to be placated that, oh, it was just a fake death. he doesn't really die. And Bones likes being on the ground for some reason. Kirsty. You're probably right. I always called it Kirstie Alley. So Kirstie Alley is now pissed that there was no way to win. And of course, Kirk tells her about the no-win scenario. How we deal with death is at least as important as how we deal with life. No, that's not really true, though, is it? Because we have to deal with life our entire lives. Our death's only going to happen once. McCoy is now asking why can't they put an experienced crew back on the ship. And Kirk says galloping around the stars is for young people, and Uhura takes a little plain, at that. And so Kirk says that they thought Spock was dead. It's Captain Spock now, by the way, captain of the Enterprise. Here we learn about the Kobayashi Maru, and this is where we find that Kirk had a unique final solution. Later we find out what it was. Cheating. So we find out it's Kirk's birthday. He gets a gift, and Spock says he knows of his fondness for antiques. So he's got War and Peace, the best of times. No, the Grapes of Wrath. The best of times, the worst of times. And Kirk's going home. Let's make sure history never forgets the name Enterprise. Yes, Derek. Mike Richards says, greetings from Columbus, Ohio, Birdo Prey 5, and chat. Greetings, Mike Richards. Mercer says, Tale of Two Cities, Tale of Two Cities? What'd I say? Oh, I said Grapes of Wrath, didn't I? Oh, shit. Yes, A Tale of Two Cities. Very good, Mercer. Thank you. So, we're getting to see Kirk's bachelor pad. This is Kirk's house. Kirk's apartment. It's decorated with all types of antiques. And he gets his birthday gift. Apparently, they could have fixed his eyes with some medication, but he's allergic to that medication, so he's still got to use glasses. The laser surgery is still too expensive. This is the weirdest birthday party ever. It's just Dr. McCoy and Kirk. Rentox 5. Yes, that's what he's allergic to. So, McCoy's asking why they're treating his birthday like a funeral. Famous lines. McCoy invites himself to sit. He wants to be out there hopping galaxies. McCoy accuses Kirk of hiding behind rules and regulations. Now he says, don't mince words. What do you really think? Jim, I'm your doctor and your friend. Get back your command. Get it back before you turn into part of this collection. Before you really do grow old. Before they stop making these movies. Okay. And the scene cuts, and we have our first Miranda-class vessel, I believe, ever seen. And it's Chekhov's voice. Pavel Chekhov. Approach to City Alpha 6. They're doing their research for lifeless planet for Genesis. Like, maybe they would have known, even if nobody went to visit Kahn, that you might not want to test your newest secret project on the planet next to the planet where you left Super Hitler. Does it have to be completely lifeless? The captain's like, maybe it's just scanners are out of adjustment. Chekhov's kind of like tired of searching for planets with no life. He's like, maybe it's just a particle of preeminent matter caught. Oh. So now he's talking to the doctor, saying maybe it's something they can transplant. She doesn't like it. She's not happy. You guys gotta go down and check it out. Not even a microbe. There's David. David saying, Genesis is gonna work. Teaming up with him for bridge after dinner. David gets nervous every time they have dealings with Starfleet. That overgrown Boy Scout you used to hang out with. And she says, listen, that guy, Jim Kirk was many things, but he was never a Boy Scout. So Chekhov and his captain beam on down to City Alpha 6, or so they think. How can you be sure they're the right coordinates? The planet can't even be in the exact right place. So Chekhov saying there's nothing here. The tricorder must be broken. Until, of course, they go over that rock. Oh, over here. Cargo carriers. Why would there be cargo carriers on the planet next to the planet we dropped Kahn off on? Hey, Captain, did you see a planet next door? Of course, Chekhov wasn't actually on the Enterprise when Kahn was dropped off, but Kahn recognizes Chekhov, so clearly Chekhov must have been on the Enterprise when he was dropped off. Well, this has, perfect oxygen atmosphere. We didn't even check. Yeah, well, clearly somebody's been living around here. They're looking around. Right. This is worth exploring. There's a ongoing game of checkers. Do you really think augments would be playing checkers? Hell, there are kids that won't even play checkers. Moby Dick, and some other books. And now it's all coming back to Chekhov. Botany Bay! Botany Bay! Oh no! We've got to get out of here now! Never mind, hurry, come on, come on! Why don't you just ask the ship to beam you out? There is still time to ask the ship to beam you out. You just came out and you see a bunch of people across the desert air. Use your damn tricorder and say, communicator and say, beam us out. So they're trying to raise Captain Terrell. I'm sure that glove was in the cargo container that they sent down. Here's the big reveal. Who's the secret person under that? I mean, we know who's starring in this movie, but maybe it's somebody else. It's him. It's Kahn. Well placed. I don't know you. But you I know. I never face. Mr. Chekhov, you were an ensign. You were doing my laundry last time I saw you. He's a criminal, a product of late 20th century engineering, genetic engineering. The captain demands, Khan says he's in a position to demand nothing. And Khan's in a position to grant nothing. Although he could grant them their freedom and let them leave. Marooned here by Captain James T. Kirk. 15 years. Save your strength. We're much stronger than you. So Khan's a little surprised. Chekhov never told the captain the tale of the Botany Bay. And now Captain Terrell says, I never even met Admiral Kirk. That pisses off Khan. Admiral. He saying how Admiral Kirk sent 70 of us in exile on this Baron. And then Chekhov says, he's lying on City Alpha 5. There was life. And Khan says, this is City Alpha 5. City Alpha 6 exploded 6 months after they were left. And the shock shifted the orbit. So it just so happened to be in the exact same orbit as City Alpha 6 was. Yeah, there's a lot of planets that blow up for no reason. I gotta say, what I really love about this particular scene is, I mean, and granted that's the movie, but how Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise tied in in the one episode where it was a what-if future. It was a future that never really happened because Archer gets a brain parasite, a temporal brain parasite that causes him to forget everything he learns after he got the parasite, apparently. Anyway, it was a possible future, and in that future, the Xindi blew up Earth, and they kept going after all the survivors because they wanted to make all humans extinct. So the last remnants of the human race had moved to City Alpha 5. So, you know, if you're a true fan, you know that they are damned, even if the Xindi don't come and destroy them, in 100 years, or less, like, I guess 80 years, maybe 90 years, the whole planet's gonna get, destroyed. Humans just have been damned to hell, if they had gone to City Alpha 5. Also, they probably would have got those ear creatures in them. That wouldn't have been good. Multi-Gunman says, hey, Bird, how's it going? It's going good, Multi-Gunman. Always a good time when you're watching Star Trek 2. She got here? How is she here already? Sister O'Prey just got back. No, I'm not going to stop, obviously. And without the headphones on, I mean, I have the headphones on so she can't hear that it's Star Trek. Yeah, well, there's no camera. We're going to hear a little barking for a while. Trek 95 says, Mr. Miles, hello, Star Trek 2 rules, indeed. Oh, Mr. Miles wants to know where's his red carpet. And Thomas says, Bird of Prey, the earworms are the state animal of Karoga. No, the state animal of Karoga is the T-Rex. The earworms are Turdistani. Yeah, this scene spooked me out as a kid. I want you to know, this was like a horror movie to me. This is what I had nightmares about. This scene. I thought these things were real. I didn't know that they were just something made up for the movie. Oh, damn. This scared the hell out of me. I'm surprised Star Trek Discovery didn't bring these things back. They brought back everything else, even marginally iconic. They're not real, Thomas. Okay, the shuttle is coming into the Enterprise. We see some more great shots of the Enterprise. Which we haven't seen since the motion picture. Kirk saying he hates inspections. Sulu says he doesn't. Any chance to go aboard the Enterprise? Oh my, he's saying. Huh? Oh. Kirk is saying he doesn't think these kids can steer. No. It connects. Back to my Wheaton's friend. Hello. Do you think they still would use whistles in the future? I'm talking to you two. So Kirk is asking if Scotty's good. HIPAA rules. Peter Preston. Yes, you're surely not going to die. So Kirk's going to start with the engine room. Scotty says everything's in order. And what does Kirk say? It'd be a pleasant surprise. It's not like the engine room was out of order when Scotty was running it. We hear Vulcan. Avida Vukumun Plum. He's so human, says Savick, and Spock says in Vulcan, nobody's perfect, Savick. So Savick could potentially have been half Romulan. At least it was a storyline we never heard about. She was all supposed to be madly in love with Kirk. Because reasons. That scene's not going to be important later in the movie. The word is given. McCoy asks, what about the rest of the inspection? And Kirk just whispers later. We put on the lights, NCC 1701. Admiral on the bridge. Spock turns. It's like there's a freaking airport going on up there now. In the TOS, there was like 6 people on the bridge. And relatively quiet. This is like a control room at an international airport. So Spock asks Savick if she's ever piloted a starship at a space dock. And by pilot, he just means sits in the captain's chair and commands, not actually at the controls. And that freaks McCoy out. Spock says, for everything there's a first time. Like Sulu would actually ram the ship into the wall if she gave the wrong command. Right? She's not actually flying. Everybody understands this, right? It's Sulu that's actually flying the ship. Is it a bad sign that everyone is wearing red, says Mike Richards. It's not good. It's not good. And John DeMose says exactly. However, this movie is so good, nobody cares. I agree. And Yosef says exactly. You can get away with a lot when you have a good movie. We got a beautiful shot of the Enterprise leaving in CC 1701, no bloody A, B, C, or D. Technically, this is not the A, though it looks identical on the outside. Captain's discretion for a course heading. And Spock gives the option to Sulu. Not to Savick, to Sulu. Let Sulu choose where to go. Damn it, Sulu, don't you bring us to the gay bar again. Why does Sulu always bring us to Uranus? Why is this Sulu's favorite planet? Is he trying to tell us something? Trick 95 says, God help us if Bird was flying. Dr. Marcus, they're getting comlink. It's the Starship Reliant. Or the Warbird Reliant, if you're speaking Romulan. Mr. Lundell says, Risa, here we come. Oh my. Oh my. So Chekhov is saying to Dr. Marcus that we're en route. We'll be there in 3 days. She says, we're expecting you for 3 months. And Chekhov's like, nothing has happened. City Office 6 is checked out. We have received new orders. Upon arrival, all materials of Project Genesis will be transferred to this ship. Carol Marcus says, this is completely irregular. And Chekhov says, I have my orders. And then David asks, who gave you those orders? And then Chekhov, after a minute, he has to listen to an answer. The Admiral came, the orders came from Admiral James T. Kirk. So, Marcus says she's not going to give access to anybody. And Chekhov says, I'm sorry you feel that way. Admiral Kirk's orders are confirmed. Wow, Track 95. Wow. So, here's Savick gets on the turbo lift with Kirk in her, I don't know. Apparently, so Kirk asks about her hair. She says it's still regulation. And she freezes the turbo lift. She says, may I speak? Damn. That is... So... Kirk knows she's bothered by the Kobayashi Maru. So she asks how Kirk did the test. Kirk says, you may ask. He meant it as a joke. She didn't understand. It's not logical. Humor's not logical. And then McCoy's waiting and says, who's been holding up the damn elevator? And we're getting, now Uhura comes in. Urgent call from Regular 1, Dr. Carol Marcus. McCoy knows that's his ex-girlfriend. And Kirk tells him, as a physician, he should know the dangers of reopening old wounds. So Carol Marcus is asking, why are you taking Genesis away from us? And of course, they're having signal fade. She's saying she will not let them have Genesis. Who's taking Genesis? Kirk wants to know. No one's authority. Transmission jammed at the source. But the Reliant was 3 days away. Did they wait 3 days to try to contact Admiral Kirk? Can they jam the signal from 3 days away? So David say, we're all alone. They waited till everyone was on leave to do this. Well, that's a big coincidence. Scientists have always been pawns of the military. And now Kirk has to ask. Spock with the unproven... I wanted that mirror. That mirror behind Spock, I wanted it. I tried to find places that sold it. I could never find anyone who sold that mirror. God damn it. I wanted that mirror. It's an LED, it's a mirror with lights in it, so it's like an infinite view of like a tunnel of lights. Of course, now it wouldn't do me much good since I can't get out of bed. But when I wanted that mirror like in the house when I could walk. So Spock gives the ship to Kirk, but Kirk says that won't be necessary. Just bring us to regular one. So Spock says in actual duty, the senior officer must assume command. Kirk is trying to say that Spock should take it, but Spock is saying he has no ego to bruise. I will not remind you of that which you know so well. So many great lines. And Spock tells him it was wrong of him to accept promotion. Commanding a starship was his first best. And we got the needs of the many, that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And Kirk says, or the one. Yosef says, you are pretty, Joe. That is the reason we are here. You do not need a mirror telling you this. Thank you, Yosef. Ms. Lindell says, Bird of Prey, you could have had one of those mirrors made. Well, I did not know a mirror maker. So Kirk is assuming command of the vessel. Savick, get in my quarters. That's not how it works, Captain. Telling Scotty they're going to warp. Nothing else, just we're going to warp. Giving a little bit of a pep talk before they go. I promise you I certainly won't do anything stupid like approach a starship with my shields down. Sulu says, so much for going to Uranus. So we see the Reliant. The helmsman speaks to Khan. We're with you. Consider this. We've got a starship. We're free. We have a ship. We can go wherever we want. He's proven his superior intellect. You don't need to defeat him again. He tasks me. And I shall have him. I chase him around the moons. Oh my God, it's just so good. Oh, I can't even do it justice. Prepare to alter course. Where were they heading that they had to alter course? Hashtag not my anus, says Multi-Gun Man. He tasks me, and I shall have him. There are two possibilities. They're unable to respond, or they're unwilling to respond. Give up Genesis, she said. What does it mean? Spock doesn't know what Genesis is. Beyond the biblical reference, because all Vulcans read the Bible. So, Spock and Bones have been called in to the briefing room, and they give Saavik the Kahn. Project Genesis summary. Retina scan. Joseph Patrick says, he tasks me. Is always my response when I open the task manager. That's great. Security tape recording. Demonstration. Project Genesis. This is like Indiegogo from the future. Or Kickstarter. This is the first Kickstarter video. And for just $49.99, you can get a Genesis t-shirt and your name inscribed on the Genesis torpedo, the Genesis device, once we build it in 14 or 15 years. Miss Londell says Saavik can't be qualified to be in command. I don't think so. Especially when Sulu, Uhura, and other top people were there. Why is Saavik in command? I guess Kirk wants to, Kirk thinks he's doing Spock a favor. Life from lifelessness. The Genesis effect. Sonic. No, not that Genesis. It just makes water. It makes water from nothing. Whatever life we fit to deposit there. Should you wish to fund these experiments, the latest conclusion. Fund? I thought there was no money. There's plenty of planets on which to live on. You don't need to create new planets. So, the tape's a year old. So Kirk assumes they're at stage 2 by now. So McCoy asks, what if it was used where life already exists? And Spock says it would destroy all life in favor of its new matrix. Mr. Miles' Bird of Prey, they're funding it with resources and love. Good vibes. So Spock says it's always been easier to destroy than create. And McCoy says, not anymore. Genesis, now we can do both in 6 minutes. Spock is trying to use logic. McCoy is saying it's universal Armageddon. Saavik comes on. There's a vessel in the area. It's one of ours. It's the Reliant. Genesis is Planet Forbidden. That's next movie, Mr. Miles. You're a movie early. It's definitely the Reliant. So Kahn is slowing to half impulse to be friends. Savick quotes General Order 12 on approach of any vessel when communications have not been established and Spock cuts her off. Maybe had she been allowed to finish, people wouldn't have died. Damn Spock and his toxic masculinity, cutting off women. Mr. Miles is bird of prey. It's not too early to use that quote. All you need is the word Genesis. Genesis! We're one big happy fleet. Kirk, my old friend. Do you know the Klingon proverb that revenge is a dish best served cold? It's very cold in space. You know that's not what they meant, Khan. You know that's not what they meant. They meant you should wait a long time. So now Kirk realizes this is peculiar, and he calls a yellow alert, which energizes defense fields, which may or may not be the same thing as the shields. So Horace says they're saying their chamber coils overloading their comm system, but Spock says it's fine. So they have not raised their shields. So they went to a yellow alert without raising shields. But now Reliance raising their shields, and they're locking phasers. Wouldn't it be cool if the ship could just raise shields automatically when they sense another vessel is locking phasers onto them? I mean, why waste time for a human to order a second human to raise shields when they could just have a circuit that raised the shields as soon as a vessel locked on target them? But I know that would be too easy. So Reliant gets in some massive shots there with the shields down. Engineering is in oh my god, engineering's in trouble. They're pulling oxygen masks off the wall. Main energizer's out. Kirk wants a damage report. There's a lot of damage. Spock says they knew exactly where to hit us. So they only have auxiliary power. They can't escape. So Kirk is trying to get a visual. Too late. They can't shoot that photon torpedo. Han is happy. He's turning in to the fight. Scotty can have auxiliary power in a few minutes, but they don't have a few minutes. Can they give him phaser power? The commander of the Reliant is signaling. He wants to discuss terms of the surrender. And Kirk says, put it on screen. Do it! Uhura was questioning. While we still have time. Miss Lindell's is bird of prey. You have to wait a bit before the shields are raised automatically. Why? And now Kirk sees Khan for the first time since leaving him on City Alpha 5. Ah, you still remember, Admiral. I'm wearing one glove like Michael Jackson. Kirk's like, where's the crew of the Reliant? I deprived your ship of power. I'm going to deprive you of life. but I wanted you to know who had beaten you. And Kirk is like, come on. It's me you want. I'll beam over. Spare my crew. So Khan says, I'll agree if, in addition to yourself, you hand over everything about Genesis. Genesis? What's that? And Khan said, don't insult my intelligence. So Kirk says, we need time to pull it up on our computers. And Khan gives them 60 seconds. And Kirk clears the bridge. Spock says, at least we know he doesn't have Genesis. Miss Lindell says, Bird of Prey, I can't remember exactly where, but sometime after this movie it becomes canon that shields raise automatically. Yes, it's supposed to raise automatically with a yellow alert. But it didn't seem like he had to give a manual. He had to give a manual command to raise the shields. Khan says time is a luxury Kirk doesn't have. So they're getting the Reliance prefix number. Could you imagine if the starships actually work like that? That instead of destroying your enemy, all you had to do was hack their prefix code? Richie Poole says movie track has always been very loose when it comes to canon. Of course. Ms. Miles says shields do raise on their own during red alert. I'm not sure about yellow. Enterprise made that canon. To me, yellow alert's supposed to raise the shields. Red alert is supposed to raise the shields and arm all weapons. That's the difference. That's what makes a yellow alert a red alert. Time's up. Here it comes. And I love those switches to type in a big LED number. Reliance shields are going down. Raise them. I can't. The override. And we get some great shots of the Enterprise. They target the bridge right away. Everybody should be dead. They damage the photon controls and the warp drive. The smart guy is telling Khan to withdraw. They said Enterprise isn't going anywhere. Mr. Miles' Bird of Prey, I just guessed that because I never looked it up, but I thought yellow alert just meant people need to be at their posts ASAP, and the specific posts need to be manned by specific people. It could be, but that's... I always heard yellow was shields, red was weapons. And here is Scotty with who we later find out, or we don't find out. Maybe this is not the director's cut. That was his nephew, but in this edition, we didn't hear about it being his nephew. So is this not the director's cut? My bad. This just might be the DVD release. He stayed at his post when all the other trainees ran. I think that's what he didn't say it yet. Wesley has to go. Take care, Wes. He finds enough energy to ask, is the word given, Admiral? And Kirk says, the word is given. At least his last words were I. McCoy just pulls it over his head. He knows he's dead. He doesn't have to scan her. Scotty's crying. He stayed at his post when the other trainees ran. Auxiliary power restored, and so they're proceeding at impulse to regular 1. They're trying to get regular 1. Nobody's answering. I'm sorry, Richie. I thought it was the director's cut. So sensors are inoperative. No way of telling if Reliance around. So if that was a dead planet or asteroid or moon, whatever the hell that they're in orbit of, why didn't they just use that as the test planet? The surface, I mean. So Kirk's going down there. McCoy's going to go with him, and now Savick is making up a regulation to bring herself along. Kirk tells her she can join the party. Spock tells Kirk to be careful, and McCoy says, we will, because Spock wasn't caring about him. Josh Reed says, Mr. Miles is right. Even in TNG, Worf always is asking to raise shields when Riker says yellow alert. I just think that means TNG got it wrong every single episode. Joseph says, bird of prey, it's not a problem. Check my message on Discord if yes. No worries. If yes. What? Yes. On the NX-01, they had read alerts. Yes, I love the read alerts. I love that. I wonder if they had any clue when they named Reed that they'd be having read alerts. I can't imagine they did. This is the Blu-ray release, says Joseph. Gotcha. Thank you. So we got Savick looking around. There's mice. Why are there mice on the space station? That doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. This was the other scene that scared the crap out of me as a kid. I did not like this scene coming up. Yeah, that's no good. That's no good seeing bodies hanging from the ceiling. I'm going into Discord, Joseph. Very, very cool setup. So Joseph's got 2 widescreen monitors. He's watching the movie on one and watching the YouTube on another. It's a very cool setup, Joseph. I am extremely jealous, or as they say in Spanish, Ellis. So Uhura wants them to acknowledge the signal. She's, Oh, they found Chekhov. It was Khan. We found him on City Alpha 5. He put things in our ears, creatures in our bodies to control our minds. There, Chekhov. You're clearly talking crazy. I'm not going to scan you at all. He thought he controlled us, but he did not. We were strong. So Kirk's asking the captain, where's Dr. Marcus? Where's Genesis? Says they couldn't find it. Everything's been erased. He's saying they tortured all these scientists, but none of them would talk. They always talk. They always talk. Wesley says, Bird of Prey, almost forgot. If I buy a new game, will you play it on a stream? Wes, let me know what the game is. Apparently, I'm not allowed to play the Stanley Parables on a stream. The owners of the Stanley Parables go after anybody who plays the game on the stream. I got a copyright, not a strike, a takedown. So they won't let anybody watch that stream. Which is crazy. I kind of yelled at them in my response, so I don't expect that they're going to release it. But yeah, the Stanley Parables is not something I can play on YouTube anymore. They will take it down. Honestly, Wes, let me know the game first before you buy it. I really do appreciate it. I really do. But I don't want you to waste money if it's a game I'm not going to be interested in. But thank you. Really do. I do thank you. And the Stanley Parables is pretty cool. But if I can't play it on the stream, I don't know what we can do about it. T-Berg says, Bird of Prey, those look like rats to me. Maybe the visitors left them there. That's cool. Track 95 says you yelled at them. Well, I typed in all caps. Mr. Miles is Bird of Prey. According to Memory Alpha, during Yellow Alert, the ship is supposed to go to full shields, but no power to the weapons. Makes sense. The shields get it all. That's exactly what I believed. So I guess Memory Alpha and I agree. But they don't say if it's done automatically or manually. But if it has to say Yellow Alert, status itself can be raised automatically in certain situations. So I would assume the shields would go up automatically if Yellow Alert is automatic. But if it's manual, it won't raise the shields without manual input. Ms. Lindell says, Bird of Prey, you find nice strategy game you can play on stream. I downloaded and I bought a new game, although it's an old game. I've never played it before. I think it's called Transport Tycoon or something. I was gonna try to play that at some point, and if it looked interesting, play it on a stream. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Because the Space Engineer server, it doesn't look like the turds are even playing anymore. So they just beamed down to wherever the people went on the station, even if they didn't go anywhere, but they beamed into a cave, subterranean. And David jumps out, and they're fighting. David's trying to stab Kirk. Right, because they don't have phasers, because they're scientists. So Kirk is saying, where's Dr. Marcus? He says, I'm Dr. Marcus. Says Jim. And now Kirk is realizing, is that my boy? Is that David? And David says, he killed everybody we left behind. And Carol Marcus says, of course he didn't. You're just making this harder. And now the other captain and Chekhov says, it's even harder than you think. Chekhov says, I'm sorry, Captain. I'm sorry, Admiral. Your Excellency, have you been listening? And Kahn says, I have indeed. And David says, you son of a bitch. And some poor guy got vaporized. So he says, you have the coordinates to beam up Genesis. But Kahn is like, no, you've got to kill Admiral Kirk. Wesley's Bird of Prey, I think of Goat Simulator because there's no Alpaca Simulator. Wesley, I downloaded Goat Simulator. I don't know on what platform. I've played Goat Simulator before. It might have been on my phone or my tablet. Thomas's Bird of Prey, kind of difficult to play when you randomly die and can't respawn. Excuses, Thomas, excuses. Daniel's Hot Topics says, Gone! It's coming. It's coming. And now, so I gotta give credit. I have to give credit to the captain, Captain Terrell. He couldn't bring himself to kill Admiral Kirk. He killed himself. And then Chekhov went mad, but got lucky when the creature crawled out of his ear. And then Kirk, with excellent marksmanship, vaporized it. Kahn, you bloodsucker. Do you hear me? Kirk. Kirk, you're still alive, my old friend. Still old friend. You've managed to kill just about everyone else. But you keep missing the target. And Kahn gives the signal to beam up Genesis. Like somebody should have maybe moved it a few feet to the left. And Kahn says, perhaps I no longer need to try. Try shooting it! Or jump in with the beaming signal. Kirk is saying, Kahn, you've got Genesis, but you don't have me. You're going to kill me. If you're going to kill me, you're going to have to come down here. You're going to have to come down here. I've done far worse than kill you. I've hurt you. And I wish to keep on hurting you. I shall leave you, but you left me, as you left her. Marooned for all eternity. Deserted on a dead planet. Buried alive. Buried alive. Kahn! Oh, it's great. Kahn. And now we get that's echoing throughout the whole planet. Oh. Oh, man. Wesley says games on phone or tablet. Ew. Thomas's Bird of Prey Planet Coaster has a new game called Planet Zoo. Is that where we put Kurdistan? He's in a zoo? Richie Poole says classic. Josh Reed says sorry, Bird of Prey, sorry, but Foley Khan did better than Bird Khan. I'm not surprised. So Kirk is hungry. Everybody's lamenting that they're never going to get out of there. Kirk's hungry. Asking if there's anything to eat. Marcus says there's food in the Genesis cave. Enough to last a lifetime if necessary. And McCoy's like, we thought this was Genesis. How could you think this was Genesis? You saw the video. This is a cave. It took Starfleet Engineering 10 months to dig this out. And what they did in there, they did in a day. So Dr. Marcus tells her son to show Dr. McCoy and Saavik the cave. He's like, oh, this is just to give me something to do, isn't it? So now they adults can talk. Shrek 95, at least this planet does not smell like poop. That's true. Much better than Turkestan. He said, I did what you want. I stayed away. Why didn't you tell me? I don't know. Maybe you should have told him he had a son. Maybe he's right. He had his world and she had hers. And she wanted him in her world. Seems like you were a bit selfish. Dare might call you a bitch. You know, you don't tell a man he has a son. That is a bit of the B word. I'm sorry, Dr. Marcus. I know, but that was selfish. That was the definition of selfish. Yosef says in this scene, only Saavik and Kirk are still alive to this day. Oh, very, very sad. Thomas says, bird of prey, Turkestan is like 20 feet away from Karoga. So you smell also, yeah, we smell Turkestan. We don't like it. That's why we had to move to the other side of the planet. John DeMarco says, I think Kirk knew he had a son, but Carol didn't want him involved. I don't think Kirk knew he had a son. He said, why didn't you ever tell me? Wesley says Turkestan is way too close to Karoga. I gotta take it up with Anti-Tracker. Next round will be further away, I'm sure of it. Miss Lundell says, you don't tell a man he has a son. I guess child support laws are null and void. Well, I guess in the future there is no child support since there's no money. She's like, let me take your hand. So Reliance got their impulse power restored. And they think they're more than a match for Enterprise. Because they heard Kirk talking to Spock. It was going to be days before their power was restored. And look, Genesis creates a small star in a cave. Because they have light. So Kirk's like, you did all this in a day? And she's honest now. No, not really. The Matrix formed in a day. The life grew later. At an accelerated rate. McCoy's quite impressed. There's waterfalls. It's crazy. There's light. There's waterfalls. The Genesis effect not only creates life, it creates wealth. Nice looking planets. Nice looking topography. Water from nothing. Waterfalls. Saavik wants to ask a question. The Kobayashi Maru. She wants to know what he did. She'd really like to know. And then McCoy says, the only Starfleet cadet ever to beat the Kobayashi Maru. Like they wouldn't know. So he reprogrammed the simulation. And David says he cheated. He changed the conditions of the test. He got accommodation for original thinking. And she said, so you never faced that situation, faced death. And this is where Kirk says, I don't believe in no-win scenario. And so Kirk brings up the tricorder and says, 2 hours, are you ready? And Spock says, right on schedule. And he looks at Savick, takes a bite of something, and says, I don't like to lose. You of all people go by the book. By the book. Regulation 46A. No uncoded messages on open channel. So Savick looks at Spock and says, you lied. Spock says, I exaggerated. Hours instead of days, minutes instead of hours. Good thing they were on the same page. Could have been hours instead of weeks. Turbo lifts aren't working. It's the best they could do in 2 hours. Thomas Potts is calling me a cheater. Why, Thomas? T-Berg says, son of a bitch bird. Why? What happened? Doc Jambroni is here. Says, yo, welcome, Doc. Qapla. T-Berg, but what are you talking about? Oh, Kirk cheated. Yes, he did cheat. Yosef says Shatner, Kirk eats apple, so JJ Kirk eats apple during Kobayashi Maru. Thomas is bird of prey. I yell cheater, and you assume it's about you. You're right. You're all right. I can't believe this is all the work they have to do to fire a goddamn photon torpedo. There is no way they were doing this all the time and all the ships. I mean, I think we have more automated ways of firing torpedoes today. There she is, says Khan. Not so wounded as we were led to believe. So much the better. Little chase in space. We're headed to the nebula. 2.2 minutes to the nebula. Our alliance is closing. He says if they go in there, we'll lose them, and Khan says explain it to them, and they fire a photon torpedo. Why are they not firing photon torpedoes this entire time? Khan wants to know why they're slowing. He says we dare not follow them into the nebula. Shields would be useless, and Khan was about to say go, but he thinks about it and he stops. And now Kirk's got to call them because he sees they're reducing speed. Says, this is Admiral Kirk. We tried it once your way. I'm laughing at your superior intellect. He knows how to push Khan's buttons. The guy gets up and says, "No, sir, you have Genesis. You can have whatever you want." Khan demands full power. And he just goes and he pushes full power himself. Kirk says he's consistent. And Spock says we're now entering the nebula, the Nutara Nebula. They had to put emergency lights on because the lights failed when they entered the nebula. Except there's plenty of lights on the outside of the ship. Yosef says Khan wears a necklace with the delta as a memory of his dead wife. It's like I would wear my wife's work badge. Weird, Berto Gray. I didn't even think of that. It is indeed weird. I think it was probably just something they could sell. So Khan wants to do sensors and whatnot, and the guy said, like I said, not functional. And he takes it upon himself to reduce speed, and Khan gets pissy at him, but he doesn't complain. So these ships, though we can see them, you see, if only they had a view screen window, they'd be able to see what was going on. But at this time, they clearly don't have a window, as you can see with your eyes just fine, but for some reason, the sensors can't see what's going on. So, phaser lock, the Enterprise coming in behind them. It says, best guess. So Sulu not only drives the ship, he's also shooting. Khan is firing aft torpedoes, of course, without any idea where the Enterprise is. They have no idea where the torpedo's going. Richie Poole says Harv Bennett wrecked track by making Starfleet too militaristic, right down to how they load torpedoes. I mean, it's dramatic. Don't get me wrong. It's super dramatic. But it's just not practical. Okay, so the Reliant gets some really big hits on the Enterprise, and now the Enterprise gets some really big hits on the Reliant. Khan is able to lift this massive piece of metal. Of course, he could have just turned down the gravity. Oh, poor Scotty. He's sick from the radiation. He had to take the mains offline. So I guess this is the first time we find out starships are just a big radioactive hazardous nuclear power plants. It's goddamn Chernobyl in there. Khan's going to avenge the guy he got killed. Thunder in space. Oh, Chekhov's cleared for duty again. So now Chekhov can man weapons, so Sulu doesn't have to shoot and drive. Spock says he's intelligent but inexperienced. His pattern indicates 2D thinking. You mean we should come from below or above? Full stop, Kirk orders. Z minus 10,000 meters. So yes, they use Z axis for height in the future. Not that there was technically an up or down, but just assuming that the ship travels on a horizontal plane throughout the galaxy, that down means something. Miss Londell says Starfleet was indeed the military. Richie Poole says it's in the name, Mr. Londell, photon. And Miss Londell says sounds like something Anti-Trekker would ruminate on and get wrong. Richie Poole says Starfleet's primary mission was exploration. It also served as part of the Federation's defense. She's right there. She's right in front of him. And he says, fire. And they fire a photon torpedo right into the Reliance photon torpedo holder. And then they shoot a phaser at its warp nacelle. And now another photon torpedo to break off its warp nacelle. Maybe keep firing and destroy the entire ship. So Genesis gets destroyed and can't be activated. So Kirk says, send to Reliant, prepare to be boarded. And Horus demands they surrender and prepare to be boarded. Right, because Khan's somebody who's going to surrender. No, Khan is the last one alive. And Khan lifts himself up with one burnt hand. If only he had two gloves, he might have two working hands. But they could only afford one glove. No, Kirk. The game's not over. For Khan. He's got to turn each of these things 25, 30%. And each one engages the Genesis just a little bit bigger. They left Genesis on the transporter pad because why not? It's not like somebody could just beam it off. From hell's heart, I stab at thee. So now Spock sees an energy source on Reliant that he's never seen before. So he brings it up. And David comes up and says, that's Genesis. It's the Genesis wave. It's build up to detonation. Yosef says Michael Jackson has the second glove. That's probably what it is. He shared it. Yes, Khan is just misunderstood. Oh, murderous. Well, whatever. So he tells Scotty to get us out of here best possible speed. It's like, why not try to attack it?
Just a good old boy. Never meaning no harm.
Nobody. or push it away. Push the Reliant away. Are you out of your Vulcan mind? No human can tolerate the radiation in there. And Spock says, I'm not human. McCoy says, you're not going in there. And then Spock gives McCoy the old Vulcan nerve pinch. He apologizes. He's got no time to discuss it logically. And he does the famous remember mind meld. Now Scotty wakes up and sees Spock go in there. He's yelling, Spock! But what the hell did you expect he would do? If everybody's going to die, if nobody goes in there and does whatever it is they have to do, what do you expect? Of course somebody's going to go in there to save everybody. I'm surprised it wasn't Scotty. I remember Spock, Leonard Nimoy, talking about this scene and that it was dry ice in there that was being used to make this effect. And so dry ice is basically just carbon dioxide, and it's being blown into the room, and he was in a sealed glass chamber. And they were reshooting it so many times that, according to Leonard Nimoy, the room was really starting to fill with carbon dioxide, and he was starting to get sick from carbon dioxide poisoning. At least so he claimed. I wouldn't be surprised that nobody in Hollywood would think about the fact of putting in so much carbon dioxide into a small room, but it seemed a bit surprising to me. So David gives a little, no, we're not gonna make it. Khan is saying, no, you can't get away. From hell's heart, I stab at thee. For hate's sake, I spit my last breath at thee. And we see the Genesis non-phallic looking device starting to glow. And the mains just came back online. Spock says, yes, Mr. Scott. Sulu goes to warp. And the Reliant explodes. The nebula is vaporized. And now we get the Genesis effect, I assume, as a series of these concentric blue waves that are expanding outward. That are actually moving faster than light? I don't know. Or at light speed, I suppose. That they have to be at warp to outrun it. So Carol Marcus found herself one of those nice red jackets. And they're looking at the Genesis planet. And Kirk's like, my God, Carol, look at it. They were close enough that it worked. And Kirk yells, well done, Scotty. And Dr. McCoy picks up. He says, Jim, I think you better get down here better. Hurry. And then Kirk looks and sees Spock's seat's empty and tells Savick to take the Kahn. Take the Kahn! Oh, no, not that. And Kirk is running. Like we haven't seen him run before, and not until generations will he run so fast again. And he slides down the poles. And he sees everybody's looking. Everybody's looking at Spock. And Kirk's going to open the door. And McCoy and Scotty have to hold him back. And he'll flood the whole compartment with radiation. And Kirk's like, he'll die. And Scotty's like, he's dead already. Although he's not technically dead. Also, random third guy held him back by the crotch. For some reason, the crotch shot. I guess you couldn't have random guy block Shatner's face, so he had to hold him back by the crotch, so he was out of the camera view. So now they've put in some type of, I don't know, he's yelling Spock. I don't know if that was into a microphone or what. Anyway, Spock stands up, fixes his uniform because he's so dignified as he walks, but he's blind, so he doesn't know where to stop. He smacks his face into the glass or transparent aluminum. Spock says, "Ship, out of danger." Kirk yells, "Yes." "Don't grieve, Admiral. It is logical. The needs of the many outweigh." And Kirk says, "The needs of the few." And Spock says, "Or the one." Spock says he never took the Kobayashi Maru test. And now he's saying, "What do you think of my solution?" Kirk's like, "Spock, you idiot, we have droids that could do this. Didn't you see Star Trek Discovery? There's droids all over the ship. They could have fixed everything." "I have been and shall always be your friend." Aww. And he puts his hand up for one last live long and prosper. And I'm sure all the true Star Trek fans, I'm sure Anti-Trekker was crying in the theater when they saw this. The death of Spock. The real death of Spock. Not the fake death. And he dies up against the wall. And Kirk looks devastated. Daniel's Hot Topics is Bird of Prey. Don't grieve, Admiral. It was logical. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. You have been and always shall be your friend. Live long and prosper. My friend. Close enough. And now we see the funeral. This death takes place in the shadow of new life. The sun rises on a new world. One his beloved comrade gave his life to protect. No, I don't think that was what he gave his life for. He gave his life to protect you guys. Of my friend, I can only say this. Of all the souls I have encountered in my travels, his was the most human. I was kind of waiting for there to be a 21-gun salute. Bagpipes. The bagpipes are playing as they load the torpedo which holds Spock's body. Will they shoot it into the sun? No. We'll just shoot it in a random direction. It'll get caught by a planet's gravity well, and we'll have another movie. Track 95 says, "When I die, I want that done." You want to be shot out the torpedo tube of a Constitution-class starship? Yo, this is Bird of Prey. This funeral scene is almost as good as the one on Discovery where Saru sings to the robot chick. Oh my god, Yosef, I blocked that from my memory. You had to bring it up. I had blocked that scene from my memory, and Trek 95 says, "Yes, please." Trek 95, if we have Constitution class spaceships, I will try to remember if somehow I survive you. And Kirk's glasses are broken. It'd be worth more if the frames were intact, of course. That's from Star Trek 4. I'm sorry, Mr. Miles. I can jump movies. I'm the guy. I'm the host. David doesn't mean to intrude. Kirk says I should be on the bridge. David wants to talk to him for a minute. Lieutenant Savick was right. You never have faced death. Kirk says, not like this. All those hundreds of red shirts dead, but never one I cared about. I cheated death. Tricked my way out. Patted himself on the back for his ingenuity. He knows nothing. Daniel's Hot Topics is Bird of Prey. Is Star Trek Discovery canon? No, Daniels. It's canon fodder, maybe. No. Star Trek Discovery isn't canon, except by the loosest definition, which is that CBS can decide what's canon. So by that logic, if CBS said tomorrow that nothing in Star Trek is canon, and we've merged Harry Potter with the Star Trek universe, and now Star Trek is part of the Harry Potter universe, so Harry Potter is now canon Star Trek. If you believe they have the right, the moral authority to do that, then you can believe that Star Trek Discovery is canon. I do not believe they have the moral authority to say that. So I know what Anti-Tricker believes, but no, it's bullcrap. Fans, the fandom decides what's canon, in my opinion. In the first 5 years, maybe the first 10 years, maybe the first 20 years, maybe the first 40 years of a franchise, the IP holder can choose what's canon. But at some point, the tides turn, the tables turn, and the fans have invested more than the IP holder. And at some point, the fans get to decide what's canon, not the IP holder. And with Star Trek, I say that time came some time ago. We are the ultimate deciders of canon, not CBS. Track 95 says, Bird of Prey, please don't give CBS any ideas. So, they're all looking at this new planet they created. Really, Kahn created. It should be called Planet Kahn. Kirk says he feels young. Well, you look old. You look pretty old, Admiral. John DeMarco says CBS and moral authority are mutually exclusive. That is pretty true. And now we get the Spock voiceover. As we see life growing on Genesis planet. Not as old as he does now, says Richie Poole. That's true. Joseph says, Bird of Prey, in my household, the router is the IP holder. Very, very clever, Joseph. And we see the Mark IV torpedo, or Mark VI. It's the Mark VI torpedo, huh? It landed. It must have braking thrusters or something. T-Berg says Kahn-tested planetary body. In Spock saying space, the final frontier. These are the continuing voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Her ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds, seek out new life forms and new civilizations, boldly go where no man has gone before. They still were saying man in 1982. And we've hit the cast. Ah, yes. So many great memories. So much great memories. I just want to take it all in. Good track. Good track. It existed. We had it at one point. And we let it go. We're damn dirty apes. All of us. Some of us more than others, but Thomas Potts is Bird of Prey. They should have used Khan's blood. Track 95 says memories. Yes. John DeMarco says still a great film after all these years. Absolutely. At no point in this film did I ever say, man, that hasn't aged well. Or, oh my God, this is corny. Or anything even remotely like that. If this was in theaters right now, it would still be a great movie. It's timeless. That's what it is. It has a timeless quality. I'll be honest. All 6 original Star Trek movies have a timeless quality. I don't think any of the others, even the next gens, I don't even think they captured. The first 6 Star Trek movies are absolutely timeless. I think people will be watching them in 100 years, and if society survives, 1,000 years. I don't know how they'll be watching it, but they will be watching it. It is timeless and amazing. Josh Reed says, Bird of Prey, man, the head in the jar didn't age well. Trek 95 says TMP and the 5 and 5 are not so timeless. Honestly, Trek 95, I would put them as timeless. I'll grant you, I hate TMP. I hate TMP. I hate TMP as a Trek movie. It is by far my least favorite. And Star Trek 5, they go out of their way to kind of make sure nothing in Star Trek 5 is canon anywhere else. But I don't hate 5. I think 5's pretty decent. Daniel's Hot Topics is Bird of Prey. I have this movie in my room and it's on the counter behind my bed. Precious memories. This movie is way better than the movies they churn out today. Absolutely. Training 5, but far more timeless than the others. I'd agree. Jaws Reed says, come on, Bird. You have time for Star Trek 3. I do not. Unfortunately. But next week is Star Trek 3. If all is well. Star Trek 3 next Saturday. Miss Lindell says the motion picture is more like a movie plot for what comes after. And Joseph, I'm with Josh on that, Bird of Prey. That the head in the jar didn't age well. Because it looked, yeah, I gotcha. I'm sorry I went bald early. Track 95 says they make movies today. You know, I wouldn't call them movies. Hector, I'm late again. I blame the rainy afternoon. Welcome, Hector. But yes, you are late, buddy. We're just about at the end here. I gotta say, and what more can you say? It's Star Trek 2, man. 2 and 6, I think almost everybody agrees are the top movies. And a lot of people like 4. I'm one of the people that really, really like 4. But 2, 4, 6, the pinnacle of Star Trek movies, in my opinion. Josh reads Bird of Prey, come clean. You work for CPS as the new STD storyboard writer. Josh Reed, if I did, I would tell you, and I would save the show. The only way to save the show, I've told you, I've told everyone, I've pleaded this. I might have to make a video, an open letter to CBS on how to save Star Trek Discovery. And the only way to do it is to make all Star Trek Discovery a holo novel written by Tom Paris in the future, past Voyager coming home, and B'Elanna ends the program and tells Tom that this is a pretty shitty novel and he's got to rewrite it. The characters aren't believable. The Klingons don't look like Klingons. Basically go through all of the main problems. The technology isn't right. That's not how history went. Klingons didn't have cloaking devices. Klingons don't have 2 wieners. All types of things. Michael Burnham is not a believable character. Spock didn't have a sister. And then after B'Elanna reads off all of the complaints of the fans, Tom Paris just looks at her and says, B'Elanna, it's fiction. And end of scene, end of series. Cut to black. Done. I just saved Star Trek Discovery. Okay? I just saved Star Trek Discovery. For people who want to watch it, they can keep watching it. It doesn't hurt canon. The story existed. That nobody has to pretend it didn't exist. It has a place. It exists in the Star Trek universe, but it doesn't hurt anything. And everybody can watch it just for this fun explosions and for the nonsense and for the fake aliens and for the bullshit storylines, that it was just Tom Paris, hack novelist, giving a try at something that he was not in his forte, not his genre. He's more like a Captain Proton kind of guy. John DeMarco says that would be the perfect ending for Disco. Absolutely it would. Resolute, I'd pay to see that ending. So would I. Even though I came up with the ending, CBS, if you're listening, I would send you $100 right now. You tell me, CBS, just write me a certified letter saying that we're going to end Star Trek Discovery just like you said, and I will send you a check for $100. Now, I know you're like, I'll send you cash if you want. I know you're going to say $100, it's nothing to CBS. I know it's nothing to CBS, but it's a lot to somebody like me. So I just want them to know that's just how much I mean. I would send them $100 cash if they promised that was the end of Star Trek Discovery. And they could let it go for 5 years, 6 years, 7 seasons. I don't care. As long as I know that's the ending of Star Trek Discovery, I will stop complaining. I will stop complaining today. Yosef just put on The Undiscovered Country. Well, Yosef, we're 4 weeks out from The Undiscovered Country. Jerome Moore says, greetings, Bird will pray 5, Mom will pray 5, and fellow nerds. Just back from Mass. What did I miss? Shenanigans and debauchery. I'd wait for. You missed Star Trek 2, the greatest Star Trek movie, possibly of all time. Daniel's Hot Topics is Bird of Prey. Tom Paris was trying to be James T. Kirk of the 24th century, but was just a little bit awkward. Well, yeah, Kirk didn't come from a prison to begin with. Yosef says, Bird of Prey, I just looked at the calendar. before Christmas, we watched The First Contact. I don't know. We'll see. And Track 95 says, no, you would not. Track 95, I swear to God. Okay? I swear to God. If CBS, now granted, CBS is never going to do this, but if CBS wrote me a certified letter attesting that they promised that they would end Star Trek Discovery by making it a holonovel set in the future, and that the last line is, it wasn't meant to be real, it's fiction, and that's it, it goes to black, I would send them $100. I'd take $100. I got a bunch of 20s in my wallet. There's probably like 8 20s, so that's the bulk of my cash. I would take 5 of them. I'd put them in an envelope. I'd put some paper around it, and I'd say to CBS, whatever address they want me to send it to, and I would mail it to them. I absolutely would. I would do it. I would do it for everybody. For all the fans, it would be such a small, $100 is nothing in the scheme of things. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, Track 95. Plus, it would be worth it to me. It would be worth it to me. I would gladly pay $100 to not have to think that Star Trek Discovery actually is attempting to subvert or take over Star Trek canon. Yes, $100 can be a lot of money, but compared to something that I've dedicated so much of my life to, I would easily send it to them. So take me up on my offer, CBS. I beg of you. Mr. Miles says, first again, I'm just that good. Joseph says, first track of 2020 will be Nemesis. Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep up the schedule come the holidays, but we'll see. We will see. Mr. Londell says, Undiscovered Country is by far the best of the Trek movies. Well, I don't know by far, Mr. Londell. To me, 2, 4, and 6 are really, really close. And I know a lot of people don't think 4 is the best, but I think most people think 2 and 6. That's between 2 and 6. I think they're pretty close. Cinnabon Bunny says now they will have Burnham find hollow novels of all classic Trek as fiction. Oh my God, what the hell, Bird? You see, it could backfire. John and Margaret says, just get that writing in writing, Bird. CBS promises aren't worth spit. I know, that's why I said certified in writing. T-Berg, Bird has cash. Where's my ski mask? Actress is next to you, welder and drill, T-Berg. Daniel's Hot Topics says, Bird, guess what? 2 Star Trek movies they are showing on Space Channel next week. Oh, guess what 2 Star Trek movies they are showing on Space Channel next week? 2 and 6? It's either the best 2, that most people think, 2 and 6, or the worst 2 that most people think, 1 and 5. Trek 95 says, yes, Kirk should have an STD, but STD should not be canon. Mr. Mouse says, STD knows how to get rid of space STDs, or so I hear. And there's Eric Kirk, how do you get rid of STDs? I need to stop splitting my focus. Reggie Bull says 1, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4 are kind of like one long movie. Yes, they are one epic trilogy. T-Berg says we are building porta potties for turds. Wow. Anyway, guys, I gotta get going. I got some stuff to do this Saturday. Sister Opre is here. So take care. Thank you so much for hanging out here. And tomorrow we'll try to do something for Sunday Fun Day. And Anti-Trekker, Anti-Trigger is streaming at some point tomorrow, but not as early as he normally would. At some point, you'll probably see him before you see me. Daniel's Hot Topics is Bird of Prey. They are showing Star Trek 09 and Star Trek Beyond. Jesus Christ, Daniels. I didn't even think of those. Take care.